Hello, movie friends, and welcome back to another episode of There Will Be Movie Reviews. We got a familiar face here, but this time he's got a mustache. Look at this guy. Who is
Yes,
it?
hi.
It's
It's me, it's
Noah.
Noah,
It
and
is
I'm so
Noah.
happy to be back to
Yeah.
talk about one of my favorite movies ever and one of my
Oh yeah.
favorite just franchises ever. Very
You're
excited.
it's I am right on the same boat with you because this franchise and this series of films are some of the greatest movies to ever hit, your eyes. Can you not
One of
agree?
I can totally agree. It's one of the most influential franchises in Hollywood
Yeah.
for sure.
We are talking about Star Wars, and in specifically today we're going to be talking about Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith.
Star Wars, did you
Star,
say?
I don't know. I'm like a little kid. I used to say it that way.
Really?
I used to say Star Wars, or is it Star Wars or Star Wars?
Star Wars.
Hmm.
Like a war, like how
Well,
it's spelled.
Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith. Like,
Yes, Star Wars Revenge of the Sith.
yeah. Well, this movie is one of like the best. It's the best of the prequels, I would say. You could
Oh,
agree.
100% the best of the prequels.
Hmm.
Probably, in my opinion, the second best in the franchise out of the nine.
I can agree with that. Like when after watching it last night, like I had like this resurgence, this feeling again and passion for Star Wars that I haven't felt in a long time because I haven't seen them in a long time. And after watching this one again, I was like, oh my God, it's so awesome. It is so entertaining. It's just
Oh,
pure entertainment.
it is. That's all it
Different,
is.
different, different from Black Adam though.
Very
Not
different from Black Adam. You know,
not
we
like
were just we were just talking about it, and you were saying how fast paced it was and how good it was. And then I remembered back to our Black Adam podcast. We were saying how incredibly fast paced it was, right? But they did it so wrong
yeah,
in Black Adam
they did.
compared to how in Revenge of the Sith it's just constantly so good.
Yeah, constant
Um,
good positive action that means something though too.
yeah,
It
like
means something.
I was blown away by the fact that it was 2.5 hours because as a
Yeah.
kid, it did not feel like 2.5 hours, and even now it didn't feel like 2.5 hours.
It totally goes by you. Like, yeah, well, all the scenes are like so compact, so just like filled like with necessary plot points to develop the story. There's nothing in there that's like unnecessary. Would you not agree? Like there's not a lot of just like moping around. Everything is development to the
Oh
finale.
yeah, oh yeah. Oh no, a lot of things were cut out from the original script
Yeah.
to make it for George Lucas to like piece together like the perfect finale
With yeah.
for the franchise. It was supposed to be the finale, like in 2005. That was supposed to be it, you know. But
Wouldn't you
then,
like to see like the original script of
oh, I'd
just
love to read the
like
original
read like
script.
apparently it was like 4 hours long. Like there's a
Yeah,
cut that they have that's like 4 hours long of oh my that'd be so
yeah,
cool to
that would
see.
be so cool
Yeah.
for
Like
sure.
that, like oh that'd be awesome. But yeah, so let's before we get into our huge discussion, let's break down the synopsis and talk about who's in this film. So released in 2005, written and directed by George Lucas. This is one of the only like he did he didn't direct like Empire and Return of the Jedi.
Oh, I know. I
Yeah,
know.
and then but wrote and directed the prequels, and then wrote and directed A New Hope, and then again, this film stars Hayden Christensen, Ewan McGregor, Natalie Portman, Sam L. Jackson, Ian McDermott, and Frank Oz is the voice of Yoda. Uh, One thing I notice about this film, like after watching it again, it is so tragic. It's like such like a tragedy. Like it's like a Shakespearean tragedy.
Oh,
Like,
of course.
yeah,
It's so sad. And that is what like makes it so impactful
yeah.
is adds so much.
Well,
It's
there's so much emotion behind that final fight scene, right? Like
yeah.
on Mustak. What's the
Mustafar.
Mustafar? Yeah,
Yeah.
Mustaka. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be the trivia guy because I know
All right.
all the
But
stuff.
but like it, like after watching it, I felt way more emotionally impacted by this film. There's a couple scenes in particular that I thought were so well done. Like the one scene where Anakin and Padme are on different sides of Coruscant, like in the city, the main area, and then the sun is just it's like it's dusk, and the light is shining and it's got that like opera music. And I remember seeing that. I was like, that's like such a neat scene in the film
Yeah.
that tells so much, right?
And the tears coming down Anakin's eye because he knows what he has to do.
Hmm.
Like he needs to
Yeah.
save Padme. He'll do whatever he needs to do to save Padme.
And that's
And
kind of, yeah, no, you're right. Yeah.
mhm.
And like that's kind of a reoccurring theme of the film. And I think that's the main theme of the movies, like the fear of loss. Fear of loss is the main driving force of everything in the movie. Can you agree with that?
I can totally agree with that for sure.
That's like what yeah, that's like so important in this film is the how Anakin is the fear of has this fear of loss, and that's kind of what turns him on into the dark side. And that's why again this movie is so good because everything has a purpose in the film, whereas a lot of movies like Black Adam like Black Adam don't have a purpose. But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, yeah, go ahead. Were you gonna say something?
Yeah, I was just gonna say like, like there's tons of like shitter movies out there. Like, we did Daredevil and we just did Black Adam. But then you take a great movie like Revenge of the Sith. Now, I was saying earlier on the phone today that Revenge of the Sith I don't think is the perfect movie, but I think it's the perfect Star Wars movie.
Okay.
Like remember how like we were saying, the second best movie in the franchise, like what's number one? It's The Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, 100%
Right?
actually. Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
100%.
Because The Empire Strikes Back is just like it's just everything you want in a movie. The good acting, good writing, everything that you learn about in your film class, you know.
Yeah. It's
And I
everything. Yeah, you're
yeah,
absolutely right.
and I don't think that Revenge of the Sith has everything. Obviously, Hayden Christensen, not the greatest actor, coming
Really?
off of Attack of the
Okay, okay.
Clones.
Attack of the Clones was shit, but I think this is his best performance in out
Well,
of the two, obviously, but I think it's the best written for him as well. Like it's
mhm.
the dialogue is a lot better than it was in the first
Yeah,
and second
but
one.
I can totally like I love Hayden Christensen, but like
Yeah.
still it's just like sometimes the way that he delivers his lines, and even Padme too, like also coming off of Attack of the Clones,
Hmm.
like just not maybe not the great delivering of lines and not,
Well,
perfect dialogue.
I had yeah. No, I had a
Yeah.
note about that, like about their dialogue, because I thought that like the lines that they have are pretty like cringy, and like there's only kind of one way to say his lines, Anakin's lines. Like there's a lot of lines that like in there that just don't feel right to Anakin. That's what I've noticed. There's been a couple where he's just like
Mm-hmm.
he just says weird things to like Padme. Like the one scene I can think of is like he looks really
Mm-hmm.
creep in when like he finds out that Padme is pregnant at the beginning. He's like that's that's amazing. That's wonderful.
It's the
Like
happiest moment of my life.
this is the greatest moment of my life. Yeah.
I
It's
know.
like
So Anakin's character, like you watched a bit of the Clone Wars, right?
a bit. Yeah, I understand though. Like
Yeah. So, but like Anakin's character in the Clone Wars is quite a bit different than how Hayden Christensen portrays him in Revenge
mhm,
of the Sith. But obviously, um, Hayden Christensen came first, and his Clone Wars character was kind of built off of what we see in Revenge of the Sith.
mhm.
But obviously, you can have more fun with Anakin in the Clone Wars because the Clone Wars is not a movie about tragedy and loss and
Mhm.
you know
Yeah, no,
so
you're right. It's also Clone Wars is a lot longer. It's over a long period of time, whereas this is
hmm
condensed to 2.5 hours of seeing, Hayden Christensen's character. It's also different actors doing his voice as well, which will
yeah,
have a little
for
bit of
sure.
effect. But I think this is he's there's a few lines though there that are I think he did it like and scenes that he did a really good job. Like,
Well, I think especially in the fight scene, where he was really able to portray anger, like
yeah,
you will not take her from me. Like that was a good
liar.
line. Exactly. I think that was not half
Yeah,
bad.
and I don't
So,
think I hate you is too bad either. That
oh,
one's
that was one of like a very good line. You really can really
you
feel
feel the
the
hate. Yeah,
hatred. Oh
yeah.
yeah.
I don't feel the remorse and sadness when he goes no.
I do. I think I do. I think I
Really?
disagree. Yeah.
All
If
right.
we
Yeah. Like, okay, so you said I thought this was kind of it. You said like how it's not the perfect, it's a good Star Wars film, but it's not the best sort of movie. What would you say else was like your issues with Revenge of the Sith? Because you talk very fondly of the film, but like,
my other issue with Revenge of the Sith, it's kind of hard for me to put it into words, but it's just when I rewatched the entire franchise like a year or two ago,
mhm.
and I remember watching Revenge of the Sith and being like, "Oh, I loved that movie! Like, this is such a good movie." And then I remember finishing The Empire Strikes Back and being like, "Okay, this is definitely the best movie in the franchise. Holy
Mm,
crap!" It
mhm.
was like it was just so
That's maturity right
good.
there. Yeah. That's
Hmm.
like maturing is knowing that Empire is better than Revenge of the Sith, I think.
Yeah, but
But
on a
yeah, go ahead.
Uh, I still think Revenge of the Sith is a better Star Wars movie, though. It's got all the action, it's got all the lightsabers, it's got all
Mhm.
the Force, all the Jedi. But Empire Strikes Back is just such a good movie.
Yeah, it is. It
I'd love
totally
to do a
is.
podcast on The Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah. Well, the thing with like, yeah, again, Revenge of the Sith, I think it's the best prequel because it's better on all levels of compared to the prequels. It has better action. It's
Mm-hmm.
more intense. It's funnier at times. Like you and McGregor, like thing I noticed, the beginning of the film is
Yeah.
just filled with like one-liners and like goofy, funny things that like you and McGregor is saying. He's like,
Another happy landing.
another happy
That's
landing,
one.
or
Yeah.
my what's not than this,
Yeah.
or what's another? I didn't say anything. Or I'm trying to think of the other one. Oh yeah, he's like Count Dooku. You must get reinforcements or something. He's like, Counselor Palpatine, Chancellor Palpatine, Siths or a speciality. Like
You're right, right.
yeah,
And I know, especially like in the Clone Wars, his character's full of that. Like he's always saying fun, like quippy, but like kind of smart things like that. And
hmm
that's very in tune with Obi-Wan's character.
I like that though. That's why you and McGregor did such a phenomenal job. As Obi
Oh
Wan
yeah.
in all three of the
He
movies.
was
Like
the best actor, like the standout character and actor of the entire trilogy.
he's good at being a really good mentor to Anakin. He's just a good overall person. You can see like that he's like he is the pure Jedi. Like he is the
Oh
one
yeah.
that like you look up to, like if you want to be a Jedi or something.
No, in the Star Wars community, Obi-Wan is heavily compared to being like um like the perfect Jedi, I guess, or the picture
He's
or
definitely
what's like,
yeah,
yeah.
the
Yeah, no,
picture
he
perfect Jedi. Like
mm-hmm,
well,
mm-hmm.
that's because like you compare him to like Mace Windu, who like Mace Windu has anger in him.
So
Like Revenge, and
so
I know the lightsaber, yeah.
yeah, I don't know if you know this, but Mace Windu taps into the dark side when he lightsaber duels. He can use the dark side of the Force to make himself more powerful.
Damn.
That's a really interesting thing about that is exactly why his lightsaber is purple,
Yeah, because it's a mix
right?
of yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
also I think Samuel Jackson just wanted purple. Like I know he asked for it. He's
well,
like,
yeah.
you want to be different than like all the other Jedi, like from
And then
green and
yeah, he's like, "Can I get purple?" And George Lucas is like, "Yeah, yeah, I think you could get purple."
you can get purple. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also I notice he gets more angry because he needs to kill. He wants to kill Palpatine at the end of Revenge of the Sith. He
Hmm.
feels that he feels anger. He feels
He, he
anger and
he knows
hatred
he
towards
needs
him.
to.
But that at the same time, it's like it would have been for the best. Like if he killed him, he knew he is
Oh
too
yeah, no, he
dangerous.
he went for it. He committed, and then Anakin stepped in,
Fuck
and
yeah, that's yeah.
yeah.
That's the
Dude, it's
point of it.
so ironic, the movie, that if Anakin just didn't try and save Padme by turning to the dark side, he would have saved Padme from
Yeah.
dying, right?
But
Like,
he was too conceived. He was manipulated by Palpatine, and then he's manipulated by everything kind of fell into place, Like he's
hmm
being manipulated by Palpatine. He's having those reoccurring dreams, and he doesn't want the same thing that happened to his mom to happen to Padme. That's
yeah,
like, and that's a very strong force. And then also he's having to deal with the fact that like the Jedi Council doesn't fully trust him. Like Mace Windu, like he doesn't
hmm
even put him as a rank him as a Jedi Master, just puts him on the council. They don't trust him a lot. Like they don't think he's like a
yeah,
strong enough Jedi. So those all play into him
yeah.
like being just mentally confused, like and
Mm.
lost, as Obi-Wan says. And
And
yeah,
we see it a lot in Star Wars: The Clone Wars, like especially when Ahsoka left the Order. That was a big hit for Anakin. That maybe the Jedi Order isn't perfect.
mm,
That was a big one, and just Anakin kind of he's always been edgy. Of course, marrying Padme
yeah.
and going against like the Jedi Code in a lot of ways.
Yeah, no, he
Um,
definitely does. He like, trying to save like, yeah, like you see at the beginning, like he wants to save that. He does have good in him though at the same time because
oh,
there's scenes of like he's the chosen one. He's supposed to
well,
be
he's
the
a
chosen.
he's generally a very good person. That's why he was highly regarded in the ranks of the clone army. They loved him because Anakin would frequently go out of his way to save a clone just to save
Mm,
him.
yeah,
You remember when, like you were saying, remember when Anakin was like, I'm gonna go help him, and then
yeah.
Obi-Wan was
He's doing
like,
our job. We do ours. Yeah,
exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah. No, totally. Let's see. Yeah, again, like we're talking about how they compare to the prequels is like the action sequences are better, emotion, world building, over like it's a fun film, the characters and the CGI. The CGI is like way better compared to the first and second one. And I think it holds up today. Like I think it like there was nothing where I was like it doesn't like it's no different than Avatar Way of Water. Like it's no different than
I
really?
mean, I think
Okay,
I
okay,
think it
okay, okay.
looks.
The world itself, I'm thinking.
Yeah, no, I think it did a very good job for 2005. I
Yeah.
think it looks and it still totally does hold up today, but you can't really like I don't think you can compare it to Avatar: The Way of the Water.
Not the people, not the characters. Like there's some shots but I'm saying like Mustafar looks fucking like
Oh
it looks
yeah,
so good.
all
Like
the
it looks
scenes.
real, man. Like it really
Yeah,
does look real. Like and like the lighting and even like you can imagine like completely around them is all CGI. Like the
yeah,
entire world.
course. Oh yeah. But
Ev-
the thing that I'm thinking of is the bad CGI, or not bad, but just like I can see the like okay, is when Palpatine's face is melting with the lightning. It's like all CGI in his face. It's like a
yeah.
little bit blocky.
The one
But you
thing
know
I know,
what?
yeah.
Whatever, man. Like
No,
it doesn't really
yeah.
bother me.
And that's the funny thing we were talking about is like how you're not bothered by this. Like if you like action, like in Black Adam, you say like you can just ignore the shitty like dialogue and stuff like that and still enjoy it as a movie. Whereas I can to a limit, I've now realized because
Okay.
like after watching but the thing is at the same time, it isn't even that bad. Like there's not a lot of like horrible things that you can ignore about Revenge of the Sith. Like like everything story wise, acting wise,
Mm-hmm.
like plot wise, like it makes sense and the action works totally, and that's why it is ranked up. It everyone I think can agree that it is the best of the three, like for sure
Oh
of the
yeah.
original three. Do you think
Yeah.
it's? Do you think between one and two, what do you like? But what do you prefer?
Definitely episode one.
Yeah.
That it's like almost solely because of Darth Maul and the end fight.
Hmm.
Um, because that kind of just makes the whole movie. And like the death of Qui-Gon, it's very impactful.
Hmm.
But I just think it has. But even other than Darth Maul and Duel of the Fates, I think it's just better than Attack of the Clones.
Yeah,
So
and Attack of the Clones is also not very it's boring for like the first like it's actually like boring. There are a couple scenes. But
I know.
again, I do find like like how the clones were created is like really cool, and how
Mm,
that affects and begins the Clone Wars, and
yeah. Oh,
like
when I was a kid, it was almost like I really loved it because of the arena scene with all the Jedi,
yeah. Oh, that's
That was
cool. Imagine
so
seeing.
cool.
I was thinking about that. Imagine seeing that like for the first time, because no knowledge, like no other scenes seen before. You see that like arena scene, like with all the
Hmm.
Jedi. Because like
I
Attack of
know.
the Clones and Return of the Jedi is a bigger exposure to the Jedi Council and the Jedi themselves. And that's what's cool, is because in the original three, you don't get that. Like you only get to see Luke and Obi-Wan as Jedi, and Yoda, I
Yeah.
guess, when
Yeah.
Yoda doesn't fight or anything. And then but finally you get to see like what the world was
All
like.
these Jedi, and it's
Uh,
amazing. One of my favorite things in Star Wars is the Jedi. And so, I with all these new shows coming out, like I enjoyed Andor. I thought it was a really good Star Wars
mhm,
show, but there were no like Jedi in it. And
mhm.
Jedi are kind of what for me makes Star Wars really cool.
Yeah.
And and in like the Book of Boba Fett and the Mandalorian, like I want a show about a Jedi. And that's kind of
What'd be cool is like a
yeah.
Jedi Council like show. Like if they made like a show
Yeah,
like based on like the Jedi Council and like the original. Like I feel like they've definitely thought of something like that to
I
bring.
know. I know.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But yeah,
Totally.
the Jedi are just so cool, you
Yeah,
know. And
totally. Something else about this. I think this one has like the most memes in it. Like the most like
all the
one-liners.
prequel memes.
Yeah, but especially Revenge of the Sith. Revenge of the Sith has
Yeah,
some of the best lines in it.
for sure.
It's like, yeah, let's just go through them and see, and think of all the ones we can think of that are
All right. Well, are we talking like ones that are in memes or just like funny?
ones that are funny, like and just good, like even in memes. Like I think,
All right.
have you ever heard the tragedy of the dog Plagueis the Wise?
I know. I
That
know.
one's
And
good.
the one picture I sent of you was like, this is where the fun begins.
Yep, this
That's that's fun.
yeah. I always thought with the one by General Grievous has so many. My favorite and like the most stupid one is where he's in the pod by himself and not around anyone and just says to himself, what was his line? It was like it was I have it written
Time to
down.
abandon
Yeah,
ship.
time to abandon ship. And
I
then
know. He just says that to himself.
yeah, or like and then what was the other one I sent you? Activate ray shields.
Yeah.
Send in the droidicas. Like
Yep.
General
Yep.
Grievous is awesome. And then I hate you. Anakin, you're breaking my heart.
Are we
Like
talking
I
about funny ones? Those are sad ones.
yeah, I guess, but they're like kind of iconic too. Like that's what I think.
Yeah.
Like I am the Senate.
Yep.
Not yet. Uh
There's the classic,
oh
hello there.
yeah. Hello there.
General Kenobi.
Yeah. And then that one's so like I don't know. I just
Yeah.
don't even get it. It's just like yeah. Help me.
No, he's putting on a show for Anakin.
Yeah, I know he is.
It's
Yeah, and then he
yeah,
just goes.
it's yeah. Oh, and you know what's really was really interesting? Was when, when after that, Anakin's like, I pledge myself to you, my master. And like Palpatine, he almost sounds like an alligator. He's like his
Oh yeah,
voice is like
yeah. His
very
voice is like it's almost like he's in a like talking in a speaker, like a speaker to
hmm
like a huge audience. It's like, you shall be known as Darth
Darth Vader. Yeah.
Vader. Yeah,
It's very it's very
I know exactly
interesting.
what you mean. Yeah, I kind
Hmm.
of find that
Hmm.
cool.
Me
I
too.
I had a kind of question that I was going to ask later, but which
Yeah.
I want to get your opinion on this is what do you think about like so you know how he gets his face turns into like the Darth Sidious that we know, like the Emperor, like
Yeah.
from Return of
Yeah.
the Jedi. But do you think he gets that because it's he's getting injured or it's actually a reveal of what his face actually looks like, and it's like a cover.
Ooh. Well, I mean, his face is getting melted by the Force lightning.
It's I know, but like
But if you're
that, no, but
talking,
like it, no, but look at Luke. Luke, when he gets attacked by the lightning from Darth Sidious in Return of the Jedi, he doesn't turn into like he does his face doesn't start like melting off, and he gets pretty good. Like he,
uh, well, okay. I mean, I think it could be different, but I think what you're thinking, or what I think you might mean, is metaphorically, like
what
it
do you mean?
almost like you're saying, like it almost reveals Darth
His
Sidious.
true ugliness and true like
Yeah, it
evil.
melts his
That
face,
I think
and
it is. I think that is, but like I also think that that could possibly be part of. I've sort of a theory that like as you
okay.
become more evil and evil, like your body just slowly decays, and like he's a totally evil person, but he's able to mask his actual face from what it actually is with I don't know. That's
Mm.
what I thought.
So,
That's
so you think
I
that
think that it is like he is.
so he's so Sheev Palpatine has always had a face covering to make himself look
I don't
normal,
know. I
is what
think
you think.
something to do with the force, but I think there is like an actual that is what his actual face could look like. I
Mm.
don't know.
Yeah.
Like I've heard that though. Like I've heard fan theories like believe
Okay.
say that like do you think his face is like
Well,
become getting burnt off like because
I
of the
think his face is getting melted for sure by the Force lightning, the heat of it, maybe. But
but
it's also
no,
the Force. It's
but the thing is yeah, the other thing is though like he could like he wouldn't just let himself get all that heat or like he could have easily like stopped Mace Windu from like what from because the thing is he continues to shoot lightning like he continues to shoot lightning even though Mace Windu has the blade right
yeah.
but like why would he do that he's
I
doing
don't
that
know.
he wouldn't do that to continue to hurt himself he's
Oh,
doing it
he would do it to try and maybe like get Mace Windu away. I don't know. Like I think you're
yeah
looking a little too far into it.
but like I guess, but like I think it means something. I think like his faces actually looks like that.
You know, maybe it is maybe it is the dark side of the Force
Hmm.
unveiling who he really is. You know, it's not like he's wearing like a physical face covering, but it's the Force using like the Force lightning to unmask his true identity
Okay.
as Darth Sidious. You know, if you look at it that way.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
see. Okay.
All right.
Something else. Okay. I got another thing for you.
All
What do you
right.
think of like there's sort of like a controversy about like the prequels and also Revenge, which includes Revenge of the Sith, and Revenge of the Sith is big on this, is how it has like too much of a relation to like politics and like how it like it's very political and talking about trade federation and democracy and like the galactic senate and like obviously like
Mm.
for younger kids that can be like as a kid I remember like not understanding
Oh,
what it meant at all
me
like
neither.
nothing but as I've grown older I have like I understood. I know what the Trade Federation is. I know what democracy and the Republic and an empire is, and the Senate
Yeah. Well,
and
you can
separatists.
understand. Yeah, you can understand the difference between the Separatists and the Republic.
Yeah, and I understand that that is like that to me makes the movies way better. I think the fact that it has that relation to what we as a society have as like a democracy, a republic, and like there's areas in the world where there's similar things to like an empire, a dictatorship, and
Dude, think of North Korea.
I
Like
think, yeah, yeah,
they
I know. Like he's and like I think it's really neat how like they slowly show how Palpatine has gained his power and like
yeah.
how he is acted as a spy
Mm.
and like been like
Yeah,
a
but
spy into this world
and
and
you know
yeah,
what's so cool about Palpatine and the difference between the Separatists and the Republic is that Palpatine is literally the leader of the Republic and the Separatists.
yeah,
Like he's gotten himself into that situation, which I think is just incredible and it's so cool for a character to be on both sides. But something really interesting about the Separatists and the Republic. There's a line in Revenge of the Sith when, like, just before the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise. I don't know, Anakin and Palpatine are talking about something, and Anakin goes, "Well, the Jedi use their power for good," and then Palpatine says, "Good is just a point of view,"
Yeah.
because in the Clone Wars, there's a really good episode where Ahsoka goes to the Separatist Senate, and she sees that not all these Separatists are bad people. They're just people who oppose the Republic, and doesn't mean that you're a bad person. And it's just a point of view, really, is what it is.
Yeah.
And I think that's really interesting. It's like,
yeah. No,
yeah, you go.
No, I was just gonna say I had a question about that because, like, what do you think of? Do you think you can almost justify at times, like, the acts of Darth Sidious and, like, what he's doing, and, like, how, because the movie is kind of from the perspective of Anakin Skywalker, and in this film he believes that, like, the Jedi at times are not being, true good people, like civil, aren't being as civil as they could, spying on Emperor Palpatine. And
by the end he's fully convinced that the Jedi are evil.
Yeah,
like, which is a little, like, almost silly, because he's been a Jedi his whole life and he's been a good guy, but he's been able to be manipulated, by Sidious to think that the Jedi are evil.
And I can believe that, because all the stuff and tragedy that's been in his life, Sidious uses that to take advantage of him, to convince him to go to the dark side and, save, he uses the fact, like, he uses Padme as a way to manipulate him, like, not from a Jedi. And
he literally says, like, I don't know if this is the direct quote, but he says, "You will not be able to save Padme without me."
Yeah, he does.
Or, only through me you'll be able to save Padme. Yeah,
he says
something
exactly
like that.
Yeah.
Which just, like, triggers in Anakin's mind, like,
Yeah, and then, like, that's a totally justified point. And then there was like a smidge of a second where I was like, are the Jedi, like I don't know, like, are the Jedi also being bad too? Like, are they also, like, they're going just to, like, they're killing all these, like, separatists and, like, evil people, or they're killing, like, I guess not. I don't really think they are, but there was just a smidge where I was like, like, let me think about that for a second.
So it's a big thing. I keep going back to the Clone Wars, because the Clone Wars is very relevant to the world of
of course, yeah.
But like, Ahsoka, she left the Order because she thought that the Jedi were wrong. And there's this whole thing about this Jedi. Like, there were a few times in the Clone Wars where Jedi turned to the dark side because, or the prime example is Count Dooku. He left the Jedi Order because he didn't like the direction that it was going. And, he obviously could see that, the Jedi were not what they're supposed to be. And I have this book behind me. It's called The High Republic. I don't know if you heard about this, but, like, this is, like, it's the High Republic. The Jedi are at the height of their prime. Like, are at their prime. This is what Jedi are supposed to be. And this is about 200 to 300 years or so before the Phantom Menace. And a lot of the Jedi, like, know that it's not what it used to be. And so it's not uncommon for you even to be like, oh, maybe the Jedi aren't perfect.
That's interesting. That's interesting. But did George Lucas really think that, like, he's trying to, like he wants people to slightly debate, like, if the Jedi are possibly not the good guy? Really? Yeah.
I think that was part of the writing, was that, obviously, like, it's, the light side and the dark side, and obviously the Jedi are the light side, but just because, you use the light side of the Force, you can still, not be perfect, I guess.
Well, there's that, like, whole thing. One of the reasons is because, like, he believes that the Jedi are going to take over the galaxy. Like, that's, like, one of his reasons in the film is he
Mhm.
or Darth Sidious is, Palpatine's reason in the film um is that the Jedi are going to take over the Senate. They're going to take over our jobs and like turn it into an empire of Jedi and like change like how people can live.
Mhm.
And that's kind of like Padme's job is like to ground. I think that's like an
Well,
interesting
that's
role for Padme
yeah.
is like how she kind of discusses like, do we want to live in a civil society where there's peace and hope and there's still war, and even the Jedi still want the war to kind of continue. They're still fighting, so it's
Yeah.
like
Do you remember
it.
Padme literally said a line where Padme was like, is the Republic what it used to be? Are we just the very like are we just the things? I don't remember the quote, but Anakin then got up and he was like, "How could you say this about the
Yeah,
Republic?"
yeah,
And so those are things that Padme was thinking,
yeah.
things a lot of
And this
people
is
were
like
thinking.
this is like society too, bro. Like you
Oh
always have,
yeah.
and that's why like people can relate to like see understand Star Wars more is because of that. Like Star Trek, fuck that. No. Have you even seen a Star Trek movie? Like,
No, I've
fuck
never seen
that.
anything
I
Star
I
Trek.
refuse. I'm never gonna watch a Star
Me
Trek.
too, man.
Yeah. Star Wars all the way. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. And okay, so I have another thing to talk about similar
All right.
to what we were saying before. So in like there's certain plot points and storylines that are really cool, like Anakin and his fear of getting Padme killed. How he's lost his belief in the Republic. They do an excellent job at like making it seem like Anakin is lost and does not trust the Jedi. His relationship with Palpatine is really cool, and like a lot of anger and fear of
Mm-hmm.
loss is what leads him to the dark side. And
Oh
I
yeah,
think,
well, so yeah, like you said, Anakin and Palpatine's relationship is very interesting.
mhm,
Ever like because we saw it in the Phantom Menace, like Palpatine took a liking to Anakin,
mhm,
like, and he thought that he was interesting, and ever since then, like he's been friends, and Palpatine's low key kind of groomed Anakin into what
mhm.
he had become.
Yeah, yeah.
You also see it a lot in the Clone Wars. You see it a lot and you can just it's just that's just the reflection of it is that Anakin says it in the movie. He goes when Obi-Wan tells Anakin about his mission to spy on the Chancellor. Anakin's like, how could you ask me to do this, to go against a friend and mentor, kind of.
Mhm.
And that's what he said. um
Yeah.
Very
Uh,
interesting.
yeah, no, I had a question about like
Yeah.
Anakin and his anger to the kind of or how he turns the point of when he turns evil. When do you think that is in the film? When do you think the like point where like he has shifted from being a loyal, proper Jedi to changing his morals and ideas of what a Jedi is and
Ooh.
maybe being a Sith? I think it is as soon as when he kills Count Dooku.
Ooh. Okay. I kind of want to agree. I kind of want to agree,
I think it's as soon
but
as
like,
he kills Count Dooku. There's symbolism there because he's using a red lightsaber as well,
mhm,
attacking and slicing,
you
cutting his
know,
head off.
and
They cross
he's
paths.
yeah, and he says it too. He says, "I
It's
shouldn't have
not.
done that. It's not the Jedi way."
Mhm.
Um, but I don't know. I kind of just think that like I feel like Anakin still wants to like be good and like, but you know what? I'm thinking that really is it for Anakin is when he cuts off Count Dooku's head. I think you're
Yeah,
right.
yeah. You could also like think about as like there's also like a more obvious point where like he when Mace Windu's about to kill and he says something about Padme. It's like also maybe it's also a leap build up too. It's like when he
Mm.
has the dreams of Padme, when he hears that he can save her.
Hmm.
That's like another.
Well, if you want to talk about like there's kind of like the like we're talking about when he cuts off Count Dooku's head.
That
That's
I
kind of
think
like when he
that
goes.
that's when he
But the
turns. Yeah.
real moment, like when it actually happens, is when he there's a decision. You go one way or you go the other, and either way that you go will change the galaxy forever. It's the decision to ignite his lightsaber and prevent Mace Windu from killing the Emperor.
Mhm.
And that's what he does. He chops off his hand, and that's really when
If
it's
only.
done for him.
Like that was the other thing. Like, you know how like you get really like you get invested into movie like a good movie. You'll say out loud like no when a character will die. Like I was
Yeah.
like I'm literally like I'm in bed watching the movie and I'm like emotionally saying to myself like don't do it, Anakin, don't kill Mace Windu.
Yeah.
It's not for the better, like it's not gonna do anything. Like I'm just like thinking that, I'm like, and then he does it and I'm like, ah.
I know.
It's so tragic. Like he just what if like, and the other thing was though too, like he's about to kill like Mace or Palpatine when he figures out that he's a Sith. He's like, I should kill you. Like,
That's right, but he
do it.
doesn't. That's
Strike
what
me down.
that's
Yeah.
also kind of what I was thinking is that Anakin didn't immediately kill him or like I don't know, like if I were like obviously I'm not Anakin, but if I were in that situation, I would have like stayed there, guarded Palpatine and like called Mace Windu to come get him. I wouldn't have left him and yeah, but whatever.
I could just see like you on the phone with like the cops or something like that. Being like, hey, I got a video of you. You're a Sith. I don't know. It's like,
Yeah, I
that's like
recorded
the way you
it.
said, yeah, I recorded you
Yeah.
saying that, you know, yeah, nice try saying that
Hmm.
to the cops. Like, yeah, no, that's funny.
Yeah.
Um, okay, I got
You
another
know,
question.
there's
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
go
I
ahead.
also
Yeah,
want to say,
yeah.
there's like a really, you know, there it that because you know how I was saying like the one decision to kill Mace Windu, chop off his hand, would have changed the galaxy forever.
Mhm.
And there's like all these like theories online, like what if Anakin didn't chop off Mace Windu's hand, or what if Anakin went with Mace Windu and the other three Jedi?
Yeah,
You know, what if he were there? Like, what would he have done? Would he have fought against Mace Windu, or would he have helped? I don't know. It's a lot of
yeah.
interesting things. You know how Marvel did the what if?
Hmm.
I think the Star Wars what if would be really interesting.
But like with those ones, it's like it would change the entire. Yeah, no, it would have been cool. But like I'm just
Yeah,
thinking like, yeah, like what would society look like if Luke and Leia grew up with Padme and Anakin? The Republic
yeah,
stayed
as their
intact.
parents.
I honestly think, well, the other thing, if the Jedi were ruled by the Republic and they were like the main leaders of the Republic galaxy, I think
Okay.
that I think that society would have been well, and I think it would have been great
Mm.
because it's a Jedi. They believe in good and peace to
You know, they're
everyone. They
only
bring
selfless. They only think about themselves.
no, they only think about others.
Oh,
Selfless.
totally messed that up.
Yeah,
Selfless. Yeah, only think about others.
yeah.
Um,
Which, yeah, of course, is great.
But you know, then Palpatine, obviously the Sith on the opposite side, he cannot let that happen. You know,
Mhm.
he needs to put together this plot to kill all the Jedi. And
Order 66. That
dude,
Order
it's
66 was the
crazy.
cool. It's like so cool, so emotional,
It's so sad.
so sad.
It's
Like
like
Master Skywalker, there's too many of them. What are we gonna do?
I know, and and whenever I watch that scene, I think back to all the other times in Star Wars: The Clone Wars, in video games, like of all the other Jedi that are being hunted down by these clones. I think it's just crazy.
Plo Koon gets shot down.
I
Like
know.
Kit Fistos gets killed by Darth Sidious. Like there's so
Yeah,
many. There's the blue
which
girl. Kit Fisto's the green guy, which is my
Kit Fisto
favorite.
has the tentacles. Yeah,
Yeah.
one thing about which is one of my nitpicks with the movie is, you know, those three Jedi were taken down
And like
so easy.
2 seconds.
I know.
But then like
Uh,
what's the difference in level of like Mace Windu and
so
then
Mace
like Kit
Windu's
Fit? He's got to be
Mace
insane.
Windu's he's that much better.
Buddy definitely
Mace,
unlocked full like dark side mode. Like
oh, pretty much.
I bet
Yeah,
you like you
but
could see it in his eyes when he's like,
yeah. Oh, his nostrils are huge.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, you know. But one thing I want to say about that is in the novelization of Revenge of the Sith, Darth Sidious moves and the way that he moves are described as lightning quick, and so that kind of explains how those three Jedi were able to be taken down so
Mm.
quickly. Like imagine when he did his 920 side spin at them. Think of that
Yeah,
in like the blink of an eye almost. He did that.
it's pretty sick.
Into So
Yeah,
that really puts into perspective how powerful and acrobatic he is with the force.
no, he's good.
Um
What's the best lightsaber fight in the movie, you think then?
oh dude, it's Anakin and Obi-Wan. It's it's the best in the franchise
Yeah,
for
it's a
sure.
build up. It is the final battle. It's a build up to all
Hmm.
emotion. The theme of being on a fiery planet represents their relationship, very hot and
Uh,
spicy, and no, but like,
yeah.
but
No, it's
no,
very it's erupted into flames. Their
yeah,
bond that they had, their brothership, and their
it was once
yeah,
as like molded metals together, but has broken into a swirl of anger lava, and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's very very good.
And I
I
just think
yeah,
I
go
just
ahead.
think that was so good, and along with the Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan, and Darth Maul fight was so good in Episode One.
Mhm.
Not as good as Obi-Wan and Anakin, but the sequels lightsaber fights were so bad. Like it
Yeah, well,
was
it's
just
like
Ray was just swinging a baseball bat. Like
oh Ray
Anakin and
really those
Ray was
ones
so. That's what I'm talking about. Ray versus Kylo Ren. She's like, we're not good. When
yeah.
Anakin and Obi Wan were like, like
That's the other thing.
awesome
But like
stuff.
the thing is though, they are very cool, but it's almost like they're trying to hit each other's lightsabers. They're not even trying to attack them. It's like
So
that's the
yeah, I
thing.
mean, obviously it is pretty
But
choreographed.
it's like super, it's like a dance but don't get
Yeah,
me wrong, it's like super cool. Like it
it
is
is
super
so
cool.
cool.
Like the best is like when they're on top of like this like bridge and then they are holding lightsabers and the lightsabers are up and they're trying to get each other. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
when they're locked in their
Yeah,
hands.
locked
Yeah,
locked hands. Yeah.
yep. Oh, so
Yeah,
good.
that's good. But
Um,
I'm also like this movie definitely has the best lightsaber. It's the number one. It's up there. Number one, number two. Uh, I don't even know. Like the
I'd.
thing, like the sequels, I don't even remember the lightsaber fights. That's the thing. Like they're kind
Oh
of
man.
like
There's one in The Rise of Skywalker was between Rey and Kylo Ren, like when they're on the Death Star and it's like wet. Have you even seen that movie, the number
yeah.
9?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
I've seen all the Star Wars. What are you
I just
talking
feel
about?
like I don't know. I feel like you'd be like, I haven't even seen it because
Uh,
honestly, it is that bad. But yeah,
oh, I saw it
it's
opening
so
night.
lame.
Yeah.
Did you? Yeah, I saw it
Yeah.
in Hawaii when
Yeah,
I
I
was
was
in
about to say
Hawaii.
you were in Hawaii when you saw it, but
Yeah.
it was yeah. At the time, I remember I was like, yeah, it's
Uh,
great, but like there was a bunch of things after. I was like,
At the time, I also came off of it being like, yeah, that was okay. It was okay, but
yeah,
opinions change over time.
exactly. No, you gotta wait. Like, have you heard the 24 hour like check? You wait 24 hours to judge something, then after think about it and like
Uh,
realize like it gives you 24 hours.
yeah, and that's interesting. I
Yeah,
loved The Last Jedi Episode 8 when I came off of it.
yeah, yeah. But then you
And
realize
and
it's
then I
like,
was like, hold on.
why did they kill Luke Skywalker?
Yeah, why did he do nothing? Why why I liked
Why did
it?
we not why is Palpatine Ray's grandpa? Like why isn't it Obi-Wan? It
I
should have
don't
been
mind.
Obi-Wan.
No, 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 no. I think it's cool that the Emperor cloned himself, and then one of his clones went rogue, and then had Rey as a child.
Mhm.
I think that's a good backstory for Rey. Um,
Yeah.
I think they should have obviously, like when you think about it, the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy, written by George Lucas. George Lucas, maybe he didn't write them all, but he had the general story planned out for the three of them,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, he did. Yeah, I remember
With
hearing an
this
interview. Yeah.
with the sequels, like they just wrote The Force Awakens and they got another guy to write The Last Jedi and then another guy to write and they were done one at a time. They should have wrote the three
At all at
at the
once.
same time.
Well, that's what they did for like the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Yeah.
They wrote all three of them, the movies.
Hmm.
The books, but like Peter Jackson wrote the three movies all at once and filmed them all at once. He filmed them in like
Mm.
he did the filming in like 2 years, but
Hmm.
film them as almost if they were like in like a 10-hour long movie. And
Wow.
then and but that's why the Return of the King won Best Picture at the Oscars. That's why the Lord of the Rings are regarded as one of the best trilogies of all time.
I gotta
And you
watch
have
it,
me,
man.
dude. It is fucking good. Like it is
Yep.
really good. I'm not lying about that. It's
Yep.
emotional. It's
I
similar to
should.
Star Wars. Like you'll like it. I promise you that. Like Fellowship of the Ring is one of the best movies I have ever seen. Like an
Okay.
epic movie. But
Yeah, no, I remember being young and trying to watch, and I'd be like, "This is so lame." Like it's in like there's like little
Fellow,
dwarves and swords and stuff. Like, why watch swords when you can watch laser swords?
that's
That's
true.
what I thought.
No, Lord of the Rings is awesome, man. It's so interesting. Like it's a very cool story. Music, score,
Cool.
everything is good.
Yeah, but
Okay.
I wish they handled the sequels better.
Yeah.
You know, that's the pretty general consensus. I quite like The Force Awakens.
Yeah. Yeah. It was
Quite
good.
good. Yeah.
I was gonna say another thing about like Return of the Jedi, another really good fight scene, I think, is also General Grievous. General Grievous
Oh,
is
for
like an
sure.
awesome, like small kind of character in this
Mm-hmm.
film. And like he's only in it for like he dies like probably like halfway into the movie. And I think he was an awesome addition to the character as a character because Count Dooku is kind of he's an old guy. Like he's
An
not
old
like
guy.
he's just like a worse, weaker version of Palpatine, like
Yeah.
less
Yeah.
and like
You know, then
General
they
Grievous is
throw in
completely
they throw in
different.
General Grievous. They give him not one, not two, not three, but four lightsabers. Pretty crazy.
Another addition to my collection. Ah,
I
that's
have been
so
trained in your Jedi arts by Count
Count
Dooku.
Dooku. And then like yeah, because he shrugs off
Yeah, yeah,
the cloak and then he goes ah, it's
yeah.
like it's so
It's
iconic, man. Like
oh, and
it's
especially watching that as a kid.
yeah.
Oh, it is the coolest thing.
What makes it cool for me is like the fact that like my dad loved it too. Like my dad, he loves
Yeah.
Revenge of the Sith, but he would like when we were like if it was just him and I like watching dinner, he would just put on like that like all the best Star Wars lightsaber fights in Revenge, all the lightsaber fights in Revenge of the Sith, and we just watch it on like YouTube. It was like a YouTube compilation. I
That's
remember that
awesome.
one is just like oh, so cool.
Oh, the noise of it like scraping against the
It's so
ground.
creative too. Like it's so
Oh
like
yeah.
I like how like when he falls off like one of the like the bridges or the ledges, he like crawls, he like turns into like almost like a spider thing and like crawls onto
Mm-hmm.
like that
Mm-hmm.
wheelie thing. Like it's
Yeah.
so creative. It's so cool. Like
Yeah, he's a really good character.
yeah, very interesting, just
He
evil. Like
was he was ruthless in the Clone Wars. Like there's episodes of him like just massacring an entire village.
damn.
Like some stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's a very good character. You know, George Lucas was originally planning on having Darth Maul be like the person inside of Grievous.
Oh, cool.
Then you know that was a scrapped idea.
Yeah. Another part of that I love is like the close up of the eyes. Like I think that scene is so cool. He's like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
"You are doomed." Oh, I don't
Oh,
think
I don't
so.
think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good CGI too on the eyes. Like
Yeah,
obviously
they are
really
good.
close up shot. They put a lot of effort into it.
Hmm.
Looked good for
Yeah,
sure.
he's a great character. And that's another thing about this is like it feels just so much like better and like more of a higher quality of film than like Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. I just think that.
Yeah, no, yeah, I get that.
All right. I got a couple questions for you.
All right.
So uh, let's see. Okay, best scene in the film, excluding
Ooh.
lightsaber fights.
Okay. Um, that's a hard one. Oh, the opening shot with
Yeah.
there's their Jedi interceptors was
Mhm.
so cool.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
that
good.
was definitely good.
I have a couple notes
Um,
actually about it. Like,
yeah.
I was gonna say it's the best intro in any of the Star Wars movies. Close with with because like all of them kind of have like a cool intro. like you think of like a New Hope. A New Hope starts off with on the ship. Like that's kind of the intro to all the characters. Darth Vader. Empire Strikes Back is Hoth. You get an introduction to Hoth. Then you're back on Tatooine. You're in the world of like Jabba's palace, getting helping escape Han Solo, and then there's like Phantom Menace. You got the scene where they're on Naboo, and like that scene where they're dealing with the Trade Federation. Introduction to Qui-Gon, and then the second one is like second one's not as good. It's more just like on Coruscant.
Opens on Coruscant.
Yeah. But this one is
it's goes at the end right into a battle.
Right into you're introduced right into like a huge battle of the Clone Wars, like so neat, so interesting. And then on like that's like half an hour of like of scene. There's a lightsaber fight in there, there's a ship landing, there's a fight scene on the there's a fight like or a what do you call them? A spaceship fight or whatever you call them. Yeah. And then that's really cool.
And then it's very what's the word, like when you're on the edge of your seat? It's
you're on the
exciting.
Exciting. It is exciting, yeah.
No, but there's a word for it. It's like enticing, or it's like a cue. I don't know.
I know.
But when the ship breaks in half and they're crash landing, you're like, oh my gosh, the ship broke in half. Not to worry, still flying half a ship.
Yeah.
So all of that within the first 30-25 minutes,
R2, come in, R2. Yeah. You're absolutely right. Okay, I got some notes that I had of the film. I tried writing them, but I was in the dark. So one of the like the Newt Gunray guys, like Newt Gunray's character. I realized how goofy of his voice is. Like they're in the ship. It's like something like that.
No, you know what it is? It's a total Asian accent. Like it's like I don't know.
You can do it.
All right. I don't know a good line. He says, "The war is over. We have peace."
Yeah.
Then he gets. Yeah.
Peace. Yeah.
No, yeah, exactly.
But then there's like at the beginning of when General Grievous is like, it's the intro to General Grievous and it plays that awesome music. It's like dun 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 dun, dun, or I'm trying to do it. Yeah, it's like it's good though.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and then hear him coughing, but he's like, no, the Jedi are getting away. It's like one of those.
Yeah.
CGI aged better. That was another one. Count Dooku, barely even in it. He's like got nothing in this film. A lot of jokes at the beginning.
Not jokes, but silly things.
I think it's like I noticed that. Like it's just like every time, like almost any time Obi-Wan is talking, there's one little quip, like quick one-liner. And then my favorite line, I think like underrated favorite line is "time to abandon ship." Like it's just ridiculous. It makes no sense. He just says it randomly. Time to abandon ship.
Oh, it gives you a little hint into General Grievous's personality. There's nobody around. A funny thing that he might say.
But he doesn't say. He says it like a child, though. He doesn't say it's time to abandon the ship. He says time to abandon ship. Like,
time to abandon. And he's almost like this.
Yeah.
And
yeah. Such a cool character. All right. Before we end it off, I think we're at like close to like an hour.
Yeah.
I have a little bit of trivia that I found these really interesting, and I think you will probably know a few of them. Let me know if you know any of them.
Okay.
So a 10-year-old Han Solo is going to appear. Oh, before I say these facts are provided by IMDb. Shout out to IMDb. You guys are the best. A 10-year-old Han Solo is going to appear in the Battle of Kashyyyk as an orphan being raised by Chewbacca, who would have helped locate General Grievous by finding part of a transmitter droid that was sending signals to Utapau, allowing Obi-Wan to find and confront the villain. And then Solo's young adult years were covered in Solo, a Star Wars story, though.
That's really interesting, but I can see definitely why it wasn't added into the movie.
Imagine
I don't
I don't think it was, like, you don't need it. It's like imagine
Yeah,
Imagine like Han Solo is the reason they found like a little kid, 10-year-old Han Solo is the reason they found General Grievous. It just
yeah.
doesn't seem.
No, and I can just imagine that they could have done it, like they would have done it really bad.
Mhm.
Like, I'm
Yeah,
although that is kind of interesting, I'm glad they didn't do it.
yeah.
Yeah.
The original cut of this movie ran nearly 4 hours. The opening battle,
Hmm.
The opening Palpatine rescue alone ran over an hour, which
Wow.
that would have been cool because it is long. It is a long scene. And then the extra footage of Palpatine rescue is shown in the video game for this movie, however.
Okay.
Shaq T. Do you remember Shaq T? She gets like
Shakti.
she's the
No,
girl
I've
with
seen the
the
deleted scene. Yep,
yeah,
of her getting
yeah, she's in
stabbed.
that. There's like a scene where they're underwater too. Like
Mm,
in that I've seen a couple deleted scenes.
really?
The CGI is not done, so it doesn't look good.
Right.
And there's like green screens in the background, but it's
Okay.
cool.
Okay.
Um, George Lucas deliberately made the Darth Vader suit top heavy. For instance, adding weight to the helmet to make Hayden Christensen not appear too accustomed in the movie. Little
Mm,
smart directing right there by George
yeah.
Lucas. Very little details that it does work. Um, Here's another one. I think you'll know this one, but I thought it would have been super cool. So Liam Neeson has said that he recorded a cameo for Qui-Gon Jinn, which was to feature in a scene with Yoda, further explaining the concept of Jedi communicating beyond the grave. In the script, the dialogue in which Qui-Gon is heard, not seen, appeared in the scene in which Yoda is meditating on the secret asteroid base just before Bail Organa informs him of Obi-Wan's
Mm,
return with Padme. The scene does not appear in the deleted scene section of the DVD. However, an unfinished version was included in the Blu-ray release box set, which I have. So,
that's really cool. I didn't
whoa,
know
just
that.
rip ass. Or was that
No,
the
I
chair? Oh,
moved in my
oh,
chair.
oh, okay, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, that is a very interesting piece of trivia, which kind of would have been cool. But
I think it would have been fine if they did that because like
yeah,
I know they had Qui-Gon back in the Kenobi suits.
yeah. So they show how Yoda discovered Qui-Gon in the Clone Wars. It's a really good episode
Yeah,
where he goes to Dagobah and Liam Neeson comes back and he's like, Yoda, follow me.
yeah.
I don't do very good, Liam Neeson.
Yeah, every clone trooper in the film is CGI.
CGI. Yep.
Not a single real clone
It's
costume or
crazy.
helmet was featured in the film. Yeah.
Yeah.
When Obi-Wan is leaving Utapau, he turns to Anakin and says, "Goodbye, old friend." This seems appropriate as not only is he saying goodbye for his mission, it is also the final time that he sees Anakin before his turn to the dark side. I
Hmm.
thought that was like, damn,
That's yeah. No, that's sad.
it is sad. It's such a
It's
cool thing.
deep.
It is deep.
Yeah.
Man, Star Wars. It's people criticize it for being like blandly written, but like there's so much like that you can think about. Like that is really, really like smart and symbolism in the film. That's really cool.
Yep.
According to Ahmed Best, who played Jar Jar, was the voice of Jar. There's a deleted scene where he crowned himself where he crowned himself emperor. Palpatine mockingly then thanked Jar Jar for granting him the emergency power that allowed him to take over the galaxy. Mm,
Mm. That's
wow.
funny.
Okay, here's another one. Palpatine slash Sidious actually creating Anakin has been a popular fan theory. In an early draft of the
Okay.
movie's screenplay, the point is made more clearly with Sidious telling Anakin, "I arranged your conception. You could almost think of me as your father." Later
Mm-hmm.
drafts drop this more blatant declaration, possibly to avoid a feeling of like a rehash of the famous reveal of Luke's parentage in Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
Although it was suggested by Qui-Gon Jinn in Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, that Anakin was created by the Force. It is implied in the movie that Anakin may have been created by the Sith when Palpatine tells him of Darth Plagueis' ability to create life. However, this is not made absolutely clear and may well be Palpatine's way of simply manipulating Anakin by telling him there's a method by which death can be averted.
Uh um yeah, no, that's a theory that I totally believe because Anakin had no mother. right? Like he was almost Jesus. You know, he's
Yeah, no,
called
he's
he's
kind of
called the
Jesus is totally an inspiration for his character.
yeah,
Like
it's like the like the
Virgin
chosen one.
Mary, yeah, Virgin like
Well,
Shmi.
I'm sure Shmi was got busy back in the day, but Anakin
With
was
Qui-Gon,
born
bro. Yeah.
Anakin was born of no father.
Yeah.
And I think that it was definitely either Darth Plagueis or Palpatine who manipulated the midichlorians, just like how he was saying to create Anakin.
Mhm.
And that is why Palpatine took such a liking to Anakin.
Because
You know,
you think that you believe that? Do you think that really
I
happened? I don't.
I'd like to believe it. I'd
It
like to
is a
believe it.
good yeah, it's a good
It's a
possibility. It's a
little it's a
serious.
little far fetched though,
I don't think it's a
because no, I mean
I'm the
not far
opposite.
fetched. I just think it's like how did Palpatine then know that Anakin would have been found by like Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon on
It's true. Yeah,
Tatooine?
because a lot did fall into place perfectly for Palpatine. You have to think of that. Like
Yeah,
everything, him getting to the like in Phantom Menace, him getting the position where he takes over as like the head Senate or whatever. I forget what
yeah,
position he has.
Chancellor.
Yeah, the Chancellor. He becomes the Chancellor, and then he becomes like he just builds a relationship with Anakin. Like he has to get saved properly by
Yeah,
Anakin and Obi-Wan. But he is, he's a skilled. He can probably tell the future. I'm sure he has some sort of skill like that. But but yeah, no, I think that is definitely a definite possibility.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's very
Well,
interesting.
yeah.
Well, is that anything else to add on
Uh,
Revenge of the Sith?
I love the ending. I love, seeing Leia go to
Yeah.
Alderaan and then Obi-Wan drop off Luke to Owen and Beru, and
Hmm.
then
The
have it
shot,
look out over the binary sunset.
just like Luke
Yeah.
did. That was obviously purpose, like totally,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
to do that.
Owen's like standing the exact same way with like one leg up and
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that's got to be the best shot. And you think that's the best shot in like all of Star Wars?
It's one of them. I don't know if it's the best, but it's one of the best.
One of the best, I think. Another one is when it's like a low angle shot of Luke and Darth Vader. It's in The Empire Strikes Back when they're about to fight, and I've talked
Oh
about
no, and
this.
they Luke has his guard up, and
Yeah,
Darth Vader like had just ignited his lightsaber,
yeah,
and there's like
exactly.
this. Yeah, I know.
But that says so much about his character, both characters. It shows how timid, like, because you can obviously see Luke is nervous. He gets out his lightsaber, but you just see the amount of power that Darth Vader has over Luke in that scene, because he obviously beats him. His Just like the way his lightsaber comes out, you just tell he's more powerful, and
Hmm.
he's just a better, trained in the arts of lights of the Force. But yeah, one of the best shots for sure. And like
Hmm.
you could argue the shot where they're like grabbing onto each other's hands and the lightsabers are going
Yep,
on.
and the
Like,
lava explodes right behind them.
mhm, definitely. I don't know
Very
how they
good.
like. It would be so fucking hot. That's the other thing too. I don't get like they're like they're like literally under lava and they're fine.
And
It's just
lava's
hot.
pouring on them too, and
I know, yeah.
yeah,
That's a little, but they're Jedi, so it's fine.
yeah. They use the Force,
Like, have
whatever.
you heard the theory like that Mace Windu could have survived too?
Yeah, oh, yeah. No, it's very heavily
I would
speculated.
love to see Mace Windu again.
I
Would
know.
you? Yeah, that'd have been cool.
I'd like to see Mace Windu come back, right? He comes back and then gets killed by Darth Vader. How
Mm,
crazy would that be? Like Mace Windu tries to come back to win, but it kind of just shows how powerful Darth Vader is.
mm,
I think it'd be interesting.
yeah, maybe. Like in
Yeah.
Revenge of the Sith.
No, no, I'm talking about like this would be like a short or something,
Mm,
or like a little like whatever. This would be like a few years into Darth Vader being Darth Vader. So
cool.
yeah,
Cool. All right. Well,
yeah.
anything else to add, Noah?
Um, no,
All
no.
right. Give me your rating. Out of 10.
9.
9.
Yeah.
Yeah, 9. I'd say 9.
All right.
9's good. Not a perfect movie,
No.
but close.
but
It's
it's
damn close.
quite great.
Quite entertaining on all ends
Oh
of the
yeah.
spectrum.
Oh yeah.
Totally. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. This upcoming weekend, we got some big things coming. A movie. We are filming a movie with all the guys. You met a couple of them. You talked to a couple of them. You don't know our good friend Philip. You just know of Philip. I've talked about
Is
Philip a
has
couple
he?
times. Yeah, we don't
Uh,
even know if he's real, but yeah. So you
it's a
guys are
mystery
gonna.
every time.
It's a mystery every time, and I'm very excited for you guys to hopefully get to see this film that we are coming out with. It's gonna be exciting, and yeah, make sure to subscribe. Coming out with podcasts every week, every Friday they should be released, and then my mini movie reviews as well. Make sure to subscribe, please subscribe. That'd be incredible. But thank you. So hope you enjoyed. See you guys later.
Yeah. See ya.